Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. You're watching America's #1 cure for insomnia, the Diving Cutter Wrestling Podcast. And as usual, I'm not alone. With me are
William White, aka Ninja Panda 1980.
There's a Jupi or Jupi Chan or Wendy. And now we're going to turn this over to the one, the only, the greatest Johnny of all Johnnies out there. Johnny, run!
Yes. And just to make this podcast in style, I'm having some beer right now. Yeah.
Ah,
But wait, is it beer? Not quite. These are jelly beans that has beer flavor. I bought this at the Fight Grill.
that doesn't sound appetizing though. But does it really does it taste like beer when you
Beer, so this is the I just opened it and then it comes with this. Come on, camera. Little jelly beans. You open them up.
mm-hmm.
And it tastes kind of like beer. But it's not alcoholic, of course, but it's still kind of
But like beer or something you kind of like, does it taste good still or so much like beer that you're kind of like, oh God.
it's good. I mean,
Oh
it
my
tastes
God.
kind of right, I guess. But in jelly beans. Like,
So after promoting the Yelly Belly beer jelly beans, we'll be right back after word of our sponsor with Raid Shadow Legends. So anyways, I downloaded the characters. No, I'm kidding.
don't forget don't forget, wait, don't forget the other
For
sponsors that
Manscaped.
seem to pop up, Manscaped and all that other stuff.
Oh,
Hey, it's like
and
that
Genshin Impact.
Yep, Genshin Impact. There we go. All right. So anyways, guys, this is Mark Rodriguez here. We're all together. We're going to be talking about the AEW Double or Nothing 2023 edition, our thoughts about it. And yeah, we got some thoughts about it. And we're going to be comparing who we predicted was going to win, who actually won, and we'll see who won. And I guess the loser gets to watch it again or something. So anyway,
Nope.
I know. So yeah, let's get to it, guys. Without further ado. So let's see. The first match we had was actually in the pre-show, and that was the Hardys, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and Hook with Isaiah Cassidy. You know, they're in the background, moaning and groaning. Going up against Ethan Page and the Guns, Austin Gunn and Colton Gunn, is a six-man tag team match. And of course, this BCD plot with the whole thing with Ethan Page owning Hardy, and he can't do the twist of fate and all this bullshit. His contract he has over them or whatever. It's kind of like if they win this match, now Matt Hardy will take ownership of Ethan Page's contract and they'll be free. So there you go. And I don't remember too many spots. I remember the match was pretty decent. I mean, it was for the kickoff show to get people enticed to actually buy the event. So it was kind of good. And people always like pop for the Hardy, especially seeing Jeff Hardy come back, and people love Hook and all that. And the Guns, to their credit, I mean, they're pretty good and stuff. But yeah, decent match. Not very memorable that I could think of any like spots or anything that come to mind. But pretty good match. For what it was.
Yeah, it was an okay match. I will say this, there was one particular bump that Jeff Hardy had that it was rather scary looking. And, after seeing that, don't get me wrong, love him to death. I'm glad he's back, but I think it's time for him to hang it up. Like,
What exactly? I've heard of it, but I didn't see or like what was it exactly?
I can't remember which spot it was. I want to say he did some form of senton, and it kind of looked like he botched it, but you could tell when he got up, he was not in good shape. Like there was no playing this off. He looked almost like he was injured, and I was just kind of like, no, I mean, it's good to have you back, but dude, you gotta go. Like it's time to hang it up. He's getting way too old and up there to be doing this type of dangerous stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad you fought your demons. I'm glad you got over your injuries, but you're about to put yourself right back in the hole. You need to go ahead and quit while you can.
That's basically the future for Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara to keep up their shit.
Like I always say about with Darby Allin, see, he's going to be retired before the age of 35. Seriously, with the way that he goes. As for this particular match, and Mark here can vouch for me, I missed the majority of it because when I was like in and out because it was just the pre-show stuff. So when I came back, the match was already going on. So I was like, wait a minute. So I missed pretty much all of the match. So I have no real opinion on it. It would have been nice to see, but like you said, it is like a BCD plot, or I'll call it a CDF plot. But you know, that's just me. But it's always nice seeing the Hardys, and the little bit I saw, it was nice seeing Jeff do something. I'll just turn this over to Johnny because maybe he saw the whole match. Because like I said, I didn't.
Well, unfortunately, since this pay-per-view wasn't really that great, I didn't watch the repeat. Sometimes you watch it again just to kind of relive the awesome moments of the most spectacular pay-per-view ever, but it's not. It's boring.
That's what Tony wants you to think.
But in terms of this match, I don't really remember too much about the match, but I was just hyped up because Hook's in the match, and Hook, did a great job in this match and defeated Ethan Page, which and the Guns, Ethan seems like a good wrestler, but I don't know. It's like he seems to be like a jobber lately, like in all these matches. Like, I don't know. Tony Khan's doing with his head-ins, but he's not really taking advantage of that and just keep making all these people lose like that. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of like whatever.
Hey everyone, it's Jack from Jack Knives Reviews, giving you my thoughts on Double or Nothing 2023. Starting off with the pre-show, it was the Hardys and Hook versus Ethan Page and the Guns. And it was fine. It didn't really do anything. The spot everyone is talking about is not the one, but the two separate times where Jeff Hardy couldn't even stably stay on the top rope. And I'd say that I'm shocked, but I'd be lying, because we all know Jeff's history of problems, I guess we could put it quietly and shortly, and obviously it's clearly had an effect on him mentally, physically. He should just not wrestle anymore. It's as simple as that. He's proved it last night. If this match was too complicated for him, then he shouldn't ever wrestle again. It's as simple as that.
My question is, what happened to Scorpio Sky?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. What did happen to him?
Is he like out on injury or something with him, or?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. God, I haven't.
Yeah, because lastly, there was like I forgot his name, that guy from the sports something or other, and he had Paige Bonsons there, and then Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page were with them, and then I guess he left and all that stuff ended. But it's kind of weird because they made a big deal, Paige Bonson signing the AEW contract on Conti's ass or whatever, but it's was that contract for 2 weeks or something? She's gone, you know what I mean? And yeah, Scorpio just vanished, and Ethan Page is now stuck in this storyline, and now that this is kind of over, who knows what's next for him? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like they just almost swept him under the rug. I don't know what's going on there, or are they just trying to figure out some place to put him in the plot? But again, he's one of those guys that if it keeps up, his face is going to be on AEW milk carton.
Now, one thing another person who had a milk carton, unfortunately, is Andrade, because I was trying to remember this whole shit about Ethan, because it's been going on for a while on Dark and all them, this Ethan Page, he owns Hardy and then all this bullshit. So I kept thinking, so how did that shit start? And someone told me that was because like originally it was part of that whole, big money mat with Andrade Idolo making their, I don't know, Matt Andrade Enterprises or some bullshit. And some way or another, Ethan bought it. And that's why he owns Matt Hardy. But then when they mentioned that, I'm like, what happened to Sergio Andrade? What happened to Andrade Idolo? What happened to him?
Don't know. That's definitely something I'll have to research into.
So anyways, all of us got a point for this match. So we're all ahead. We all thought the Hardys were going to win. So woohoo, because we also, how much longer are they going to drag out this storyline? Just end it here, So
Yeah,
anyway,
like the old days when you get away with that kind of stuff.
yeah. So anyways, the next match we had was what I think one of the good ones that really started to show, at least in a high note before the note started going down. Because, but yes, it was a big 21-man Blackjack Battle Royale for AEW International Championship. And it's 20 guys, and then Orange Cassidy is the 21st. And yeah, so he's basically putting his belt up against 20 guys, And the thing I remember the most, some random spots, I remember that Kip Sapien almost like threw Orange Cassidy out, like literally like the moment the bell rang, he almost threw him out. I'm like, damn, well, there you go. I remember what's his face? Brian Cage dressed as Zangief. So maybe, hey, a little bit of synergy there for Street Fighter 6 coming out soon. And hint, hint. And actually, I'm being surprised and impressed that Dustin Rhodes, like he took it to Brian Cage. And I forgot if he either eliminated him or almost eliminated him. I think he came real close, and then like Strickland kicked them both out or something like that. But that was a strong showing considering Brian Cage and his stature, and like yeah, Dustin ain't backing down, yo, that kind of thing. And yeah, the other guys, doing stuff here and there. You guys might remember some other spots. Of course, in the end, the final guys were like Big Bill, Strickland, and Orange Cassidy. And they were doing a lot of things where, probably Bill and Strickland were going to team up against Cassidy, but, you can't really trust Strickland or whatever. He'll swerve on you, When you think you put your trust in him, he'll do that swerve, So he got Big Bill out, and then he did some move where he was sure that Orange Cassidy was thrown out, but Cassidy still caught the ropes and didn't, whatever. And Swerve came back. They were both fighting like on the ring apron, barely hanging off the rope. So it became a contest of, kicks to the face and shit. Who will lose their balance first? And the thing I liked the most, the funniest thing was Strickland was like dazed and, barely hanging out with one hand, and Cassie's winding up, big old orange punch, and he's like, I'll just kick his hand off the rope. And he won that way. But I love it because it's the body language, you know what I mean? And it's so Orange Cassidy, like, too much work, just boop, and won the match that way. So, yeah, Cassidy retains, and I love it. It was a good match. The crowd was kind of pumping for it before other things happened. But at least for that moment, that was a good opener for the show. At least I think. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people said, like, oh, the show sucked. The whole show sucked till later. The Battle Royale sucked or whatever. But for me, and what I saw for the crowd, it was a good way to start. We just didn't know what was going to happen later,
Yeah, Battle Royale was kind of meh. It had its good spots. Brian Cage and definitely Keith Lee were pretty much wrecking shop as far as that whole match goes. But the last part, don't get me wrong, it was funny, but it just seemed so harshly like underclimatic, for him to just be like, yeah, I'll just kick your arm and you just fall off.
But isn't that in character though? Isn't that very in character for him though?
I mean, it was in character, but still, it was just so anticlimactic till it was just like, I know it's his character, but damn, why? Like,
it shouldn't have been for a pay-per-view. It should have been for a regular show, right?
Exactly. Like if it was just like a regular episode of Dynamite or something, yeah, sure, that would have been totally cool. But for a pay-per-view, yeah, you're looking for a climactic, close call. Orange Cassidy might lose this kind of finish, and it's just like, boink. That's it.
Mm.
So, high ranks for the actual match, thumbs down for the finisher.
My opinion on this match. It was a match. I don't, I don't know. It was just, because there's too many people to keep up with. The main participant that stood out for me was definitely Dustin. Because like I said, even before this announcement that he was in the Royale, I didn't even know he was still with the company. Honestly, I thought he'd gone after Cody left. Like maybe he went into like a quiet retirement after his little Cody feud or whatever, But apparently that was not the case. So yeah, it was all right. And I am shocked that Orange Cassidy won because I was expecting, come on, there were 20 other people and nobody could beat him. Seriously? He's like a laid back, lazy type guy and nobody could throw his ass out. Seriously.
Cassidy has become the cockroach of AEW. It'll crash and burn, but Cassidy will still be there and he'll still put his hand in his pockets.
Like he's the wrestling version of Droopy. Like Droopy would walk through like the cartoon character. He'd walk through all slow and stuff, but then something would happen and he'd just literally grab somebody's arm and just be like whack, 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 and then just keep it moving. But he's doing it like all slow and lazy as I don't know what. Which, okay, fine, we'll go with it.
Personally, I think the only reason we got this type of match is because, well, first of all, Tony Khan had to do something with the other guys on the roster, and second of all, he had all his action figures in his little toy box. He wanted to just get them out so they could all play together. You know what I mean? But he likes Orange Cassidy. He's his hero. So while he's playing with his action figures, he's letting Orange Cassidy win. So that's my opinion on the match. It felt like someone playing with their action figures, and they come up with the little stories and stuff and all of that, and Orange Cassidy is the winner. That's how I feel about that the concept of that battle royale. Because it just seemed kind of silly to do something like that without Orange Cassidy losing. I'll turn this over to Johnny.
Now that you said it like that, the match seemed that way. It seemed like that's a lot of imagination that would be going on in Tony Khan's head. Well, he saw into this wonderful 20-man match thing, and it's like you have formidable, badass wrestlers that could easily beat up and toss Orange Cassidy out the ring in 15 minutes, but somehow, for some weird reason, some weird logic behind it, Orange Cassidy was still able to win this match. So at first, I actually liked the match. I liked the concept. I liked, seeing all these wrestlers. I forgot most of the wrestlers that were in there. I just remember Brian Page is in there. I'm not sure what's the what's the name of their wrestlers? Was it Lucha Brothers there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot. There's so many wrestlers in and out of the ring, but I actually thought that Orange Cassidy was going to lose because it was very close. So, in my opinion, I thought that Swerve Strickland was going to win this match. And I would have actually preferred that he won this match compared to Orange Cassidy. Once Orange Cassidy won the match, I'm like, oh, I can't take this match seriously. I just hated it. After he won the match, I just hated the match because it started out really good, and then the end result, it's like, what the fuck? Like, are you guys serious? Are you guys? Come on, guys. This is like,
Johnny was so mad. He was telling me what the fuck was Cassidy even doing there? Like he has no business being there. And I'm like, he's defending his title, Johnny. The whole match is because you know what I mean? That was funny.
Yeah, like wrestling wise, this was like the filler episode of the pay-per-view.
Like it was still a good match. It's just that Orange Cassidy should not have won the match.
I think that maybe they let him win because first of all, Tony Khan was really like Orange Cassidy because, he's the big action figure that his main toy that he's using compared to the other wrestlers. He wants Orange Cassidy, it's sort of like what's the name with nice. It's like, what's that, the kid from Toy Story when he had Woody? Woody was his main toy, So he got bugged.
Andy or something, I think.
Andy, I can't remember. So right now, Orange Cassidy is his Woody. It's his Woody until he gets his Buzz Lightyear. And maybe Buzz Lightyear gonna be CM Punk or something. Maybe Orange Cassidy wants Orange Cassidy to go up against someone in particular. And that'll be his Buzz Lightyear.
So anyways, guys, none of us won this one. We were all expecting Cassidy to not retain. I went for Switchblade. Johnny went for Penta El Cero Miedo. Jupi went for Brian Cage for some mysterious reason. Ninja Panda went for Keith Lee, and Jack also went for Switchblade. But yeah, none of us were expecting him to retain. So,
close with Switchblade, though. So you got to give yourselves a little bit of credit for that one.
He just seemed more like of all of them, he seemed more like, I guess, superstar-y enough that he would have won it or something. But I guess not his time yet. They're busy chasing Ricky Starks and whatever. Even though they're still whooping ass on him, weren't they? They're still whooping ass on him and Juice.
That's another thing that makes this match disappointing too, because there's so many wrestlers that you mentioned that they still haven't had a shot yet, and it would have been good for them to actually have won this match. Instead of having Orange Cassidy winning this match, because it's not like you have never won any matches before, come on, give other people a chance.
Yeah. So anyway,
also, I think there are a few botches too during this. I don't know if I just saw it or missaw it or not, and I can't remember what I saw. But I swear I saw some people that got eliminated, and they said they were eliminated, but they got tossed under the rope as opposed to over. But they were still considered disqualified. But like I said, I don't know if I just maybe I didn't see something right or I'm misremembering. But I think there were a couple of situations like that where, they said they were eliminated when the person probably should not have been.
Hmm.
But that's the problem. You have too many people in the ring. You can't keep up with all of that.
Yeah.
All right.
So right now, speaking of disappointments, unfortunately, and this match was supposed to be one of the big ones and all that, Chris Jericho with, who, the Jericho Appreciation Society, the epitome of sports, entertainment, with your Angelo Parker, Matt Menard, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hager all there, and Adam Cole with Roderick Strong with him, but also special guest enforcer Sabu, unsanctioned match. One thing I noticed that they didn't do the famous thing they did before where you turn off the lights and say stuff like this is unsanctioned match. When we turn off the lights and turn it back on, anything happens here, we're not liable. JR and them did remind the viewers that whatever happens, they're not liable. But I don't know. I kind of like that. But anyways, beginning of the match, Sabu came in. He had a steel chair. Jericho had a steel chair. Sabu and Jericho basically clashed chairs a couple of times. And then Sabu pretty much just chased away the Jericho Appreciation Society. And the rest of the match was just Adam Cole and Jericho on their own. And it was kind of, I don't know, I was expecting more shenanigans. One thing it did that was kind of shenanigan-wise was when the ref was busy and stuff, Britt Baker came in with the kendo stick and beat the crap out of Jericho a bit. But then, what can I say? Britt Baker came to attack Jericho. Saraya came to try to help, but then she started getting beat up. So then Saraya just ran out, and Baker was chasing her with the kendo stick, beating the shit out of her and everything. Then the match focused back to Jericho and Cole. And I forgot how it ended. There was some kind of, I think it was like a submission hold or someone passing out or something, and the referee actually stopped the match. Which people kind
yeah,
of complain because it's like it's an unsanctioned match, but the referee stopped it, like But Adam
yeah.
Cole won the match. But the biggest thing was that the crowd was dead during the entire match. Except well, they probably popped for Sabu. They probably popped a bit when Saraya and Britt Baker showed up and stuff like that. But there was just no life to it. It was just boring. And that's the thing. Like sometimes the difference between a good match and a bad match, it could be like the most ultimate, like legendary, like Macho Man versus Ultimate Warrior or whatever. But if the crowd is just dead, it really like takes away from it. And yeah, like that crowd, and it's weird because Vegas like loves AEW, right? But I guess I don't know, the crowd, the Vegas crowd was not amused.
Okay, this match pissed me off.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for
Seriously pissed off. Okay, so for one, Sabu, why was he even there? He just came in, fell through a table, got a paycheck, walked out. That was pretty much it.
The way you said it.
Number two, you have a unsanctioned match. Let's review the Kenny Omega versus somebody you don't want to talk about, Moxley match. They were put in, he got put in a spider web, which was a mattress full of barbed wire. There were kendo sticks. There were rat traps. There were chains. No one stopped anything. These guys pretty much went on until they could not go anymore. Why in the blue hell would it be, all right, this match is unsanctioned. We have kendo sticks. We have chairs. We have another wrestler. Okay, I'm going to wrap my fist in a chain and punch someone in the face. Whoa, 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 whoa. We gotta stop it there. We gotta stop it right there, buddy. What the fuck? Why was there even a referee to begin with? It was an unsanctioned match. The only reason why there should be a referee is to make sure somebody doesn't die. That's about it. But yet you actually had to pull Sabu and you had to pull Aubrey Edwards and have them call a stoppage on the match. That's bullshit. That almost made me walk away from the pay-per-view. Screw that match. I'm sorry. Normally, I'm not one to get upset. I'm not one to get mad. But screw that match.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Panda. Thank you, Mr. Panda. My turn. I don't know what I saw. That's all I got to say. I'm sorry. It was just transfer. Nothing really memorable happened. The only part I can think of that I actually did kind of sort of like was when Britt Baker came in and started beating Jericho down. Like I said, how did I put it? Like one of those disgruntled hotel workers or airport workers that get tired of Chris Jericho bitching, moaning, and complaining about everything on Twitter when he don't get his way. That's the way she was beating him down. I just thought it was funny, but that's bad because I was thinking of it in the context of that, not in the context of what should be going on. It was just weird. And like you said, an unsanctioned match, but like you pointed out with, Omega and Moxley, unsanctioned match means you keep going till no one can move anymore. Jericho, what happened? Well, I still don't understand. Why did she stop the match again? What was wrong with Jericho?
Basically, he ended up getting a black eye because the guy wrapped the chain around his hand. I mean, and for a minute, they were actually it almost was like a dog collar match with the way the chains were connected.
They
had handcuff chains or whatever.
Yeah.
And Jericho
and he wrapped the chain
to the ropes. But instead, they cuffed each other. Like you said, it became a dog collar match almost.
Yeah, and then he proceeded to deck him with the chain, and then Aubrey's like, whoa, stoppage, because Jericho got a black eye.
That's it. Okay, I couldn't recall what happened, and that was my problem. Even after I did what, I'll give my viewpoint on that at the end for the pay-per-view as a whole. But I really didn't remember so much about that, except for mainly the Britt Baker thing, the fact that Jericho did end up losing because the referee stopped the match, and slightly later on when Jericho started to channel Dalsim and just use a yoga fire on some random person. I can't remember who it was or supposed to.
After the
There's a random
interview.
like backstage. Yeah,
Oh, sort of like
backstage.
I was thinking sort of like the HBK thing, like Kickstand or whatever his name was. I thought that was great back then, but it didn't work here for me. What's name using a fireball,
He's a wizard.
Yeah, he didn't scream, "I'm a wizard,"
Oh yeah, he could at least done that. Okay, I'm done. Johnny, what's your opinion? I'm done.
Okay, so I think the match started all right, but then the moment that Sabu just, I don't know, that's the way I see it. I don't know, but just the way that it seemed that all of a sudden he just like really like vanished, like off stage, like nowhere lost. I don't know.
I know what happened is the Sabu kept like pointing to the sky so much, it was finally beamed up.
I think that's most. I mean, all the other stuff you guys talked about, of course, it makes sense why the match would be disappointing. But just the fact that they made such a big deal, Adam Cole made a big deal that he's gonna have Sabu as a big backup, blah 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 blah, and then he just fall a little bit, and then he got out of stage or whatever. I forgot what it was, and it's like
he jumped. No, the problem was,
like it makes no sense. Like you make such a big deal that you're gonna bring, the legendary Sabu, and then that's it. He's just appeared there like for 10 minutes or something shit like that.
I don't think he even made it 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. But it's like that's disappointing. Another thing that's disappointing about the match is that I didn't see Adam Cole really be, I don't know, more aggressive or fought better or something. It looked like he didn't upgrade himself like to this match. So to me, it's just, I don't know. It just seemed like he lacked a lot, and the only reason he won is because of the referee's decision of saying, okay, Jericho, he's getting old, he can't handle those hits no more, so, we got to stop the match. We don't want to have another Ric Flair, match thing going on. So that's the way I see it. So I actually found more like the storyline of Britt Baker just getting there, hitting with the stick, and then her fighting with I find that to be more interesting than this actual match. Like to actually see Britt Baker with Saraya. Okay, basically the Cowboy, what they had, I don't know what happened in the what was the match going to be filmed in Raw or the one that we talked okay that let's make this an official match of Britt Baker versus Saraya with Chris Jericho versus
next episode of Dynamite.
Yeah.
A better match than what we had in this pay-per-view. That match should have been in the pay-per-view. I don't know, this Sabu guest starring thing, that could have been like a regular episode. I don't know.
Other people were saying that match sounded more badass than the actual pay-per-view. Like.
So what you were just saying, Johnny, is that the intergender match should have been the pay-per-view event, and the match that they had for the pay-per-view should have been like on a regular episode of Dynamite?
Yeah, because that just sounds much more appealing like for a pay-per-view.
That's interesting. interesting because, like I say, you're not the first one to say that. And, thinking about it is like, I can get behind that. And also something with Sabu that I forgot to mention. I'm going back to my little toy analogy here. So what happened is that Tony Khan was playing with his little action figures, which are his wrestlers, and he found his old Sabu toy. And he always wanted Sabu to fight with his newer toys. So he brought his Sabu to play. But the problem was, Sabu has had injuries that he's broken. So when he jumped from the top rope, which is really just him dropping like a rock, he had to take him out real quick and fix him. So that's why we didn't see Sabu for the rest of the night or anything.
Well, see, that's the part I really don't understand, and that is the big why is he there? Sabu is not even officially on the AEW roster. He's been retired since ECW shut down.
Yeah.
Like, literally the last time I think anybody ever publicly saw him in a match, other than maybe a couple of indies here and there, was the old ECW One Night Stand match where it was him versus Rey Mysterio, which again ended up in a draw because they both got injured. So there was no real winner for that. That was the last time anyone actually saw Sabu in a ring. Why the hell was he there?
I think
the big
and
surprise thing. Like whenever they bring out Jeff Cobb, it was just a big surprise cameo. They bring out Bret the Hitman Hart to announce the AEW belt. They bring out these people.
See, that would have worked better than what they did with Sabu, but they did nothing with him. That is the problem. He shouldn't have even been trying to participate in the match. He should not have been on that top rope trying to do anything, take bumps and all that stuff if he's been retired for as long as he has. I mean, the dude has injuries over the years, right? And, he should have been like just in the corner supporting them. But even then, that's not really built up. So it's like there really was a point of Sabu being there.
Yeah, and again, the end of it with the stoppage of the match, that was ridiculous. That is literally like having a bar fight and then literally having a referee come out and go, whoa, 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 he's knocked out. He's done. It's over. It's over, guys. Close the bar. What the fuck?
But in all seriousness, I think Sabu should have actually been a hidden surprise, like not even mentioned at all. He just appears out of nowhere during the match, does some cheesy ass shit, some cheesy ass attack, and then run back out of the stage. And that would have made the match way better. I think it would have had more suspense than what we actually had. And what I was saying to Wendy earlier is that this is an unpopular opinion, but I think that the match that came out later, that the what's it called, the intergender
match.
Yeah, that would have been much better for the pay-per-view than what we actually had. They should have flipped it over. They should have had the intergender match as a pay-per-view and then this other match as a regular,
Yeah, but intergender matches aren't very common. So matches that aren't as common should be a pay-per-view, not something that you can see, pretty much anywhere.
Well, I mean, that's not even the part of why it was set up like that. Literally, it was just the setup. They had to set up to the intergender match. So, this is kind of, unfortunately, this sucky pay-per-view was like the origin story to what's going to lead up to that AEW match on TV. So I get what you're saying, Johnny, and I wish they could have done it backwards, but this is actually what's going to set up to that. So it sucks, but here we are.
Next, we go on to the unsanctioned match with Sabu as a special guest enforcer between Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. And holy crap, was this just a mess. Like that was, I didn't know that this was the coming of the storm, because it was like a mess of, if you watch enough indie wrestling, and especially if you watch any garbage indie wrestling, like the kind that has like light tubes and fixtures where, they're just kind of making up as they go along. This felt like a match where they were supposed to do spots, but then they gave up halfway, or they forgot the spots, or they forgot what they were doing. Like all throughout the match. Sabu was in the arena for, I believe, like a collective 3 minutes, and he did a dive outside, landed through a table, and then started fighting the rest of the guys outside, and then they ended up leaving. So then it was just like a whole "why were you here" thing. It was so stupid. I didn't understand why Sabu was there, why the JAS was there. It was so dumb. And Cole won via referee stoppage, which makes even less sense looking back, especially considering what happened in the main event. Yeah, it was it was just bad. It was really just bad. At one point during the match, Britt Baker came in, attacked Jericho, and then Saraya tried coming in and attacking, and then she hit Saraya, and then that built up to a Dynamite match that will happen this Wednesday in a tag team between Saraya and Jericho and Britt and Cole.
All right, so who won this one, Mark?
We all lost because we all went for Jericho. We all thought that somehow Jericho was going to do X, Y, Z and win, but, well, guess not.
Yeah, that's what happened when you're in an unsanctioned match and the referee is like, "Oh my gosh, I Jericho hurt his eye. I don't want him to get on Twitter. Stop."
And also, of course, in between our comments here and there, we're also inserting Jack Knives, thoughts and comments. So in case you guys are wondering why, like, we're not really reacting or responding to what Jack is saying and vice versa, it's because Jack is unavailable, but he was nice enough to, send us his rants because we didn't want to miss out on Jack's rants and everything. So
Looking
the rest of you will hear this in the final edited version, but I am putting his rants in between each of our segments.
I'm looking forward to those rants.
Yep. So right now, unfortunately, the low note kind of continues. It kind of raises a bit, but it's FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler going up against good old Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal with Karen Jarrett, Sanjay Dutt, and Satman Singh in the background. Tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And, of course, Mark Briscoe is a special guest referee with, like, whose side is he kind of on? Because, of course, now he hates both of them. And, unfortunately, I don't think the match was, like, that terrible. But, unfortunately, again, the crowd was dead. The crowd was dead during during the first half of the match. Then what randomly happened, I think they knocked out a referee. No. Briscoe got clobbered. Yeah, Briscoe got knocked out, and he needed an actual referee. And while they were doing shenanigans and stuff, Audrey came in, and when Audrey was trying to get in there, Satman Singh was getting in the way, like, nope, can't pass, nope, and whatever. And while Audrey was busy, trying to get past him, argue with him, all that shit, surprisingly, Karen Jarrett came out and actually bashed Aubrey with a guitar, and like, the fuck, you know what I mean? And of course, that woke up the crowd. Then the match got more faster paced, all the, the false finishes, and who's gonna win, who's doing this, who's doing that, and all the kind of shenanigans and whatever. And in the end, FTR won and retained. They're still the AEW World Tag Team Champs and everything, and they, they made peace with Briscoe. Briscoe's hugging them and stuff. All's good in the hood and everything. But that was the part from then on out. The pay-per-view does pick up a bit, but it was dead during the Jericho and Cole match, and it was dead during this match until they clobbered Audrey. And that's surprising because other than Athena knocking her out in one of the dark matches, or I think it was a Rampage match or something, and now this, like, Audrey is getting more and more involved. She's taking bumps, yo.
Yeah, it's starting to get to the point now. I'm starting to wonder if they're actually gonna, like, get to the point where they put Aubrey on the roster, like, as a wrestler, because she's been getting, way more physical as far as, stopping other wrestlers, like getting in their faces, stuff like that. And then for her to have taken a kabong hit from Jarrett, yeah, that was actually pretty surprising. Now, the match, that was kind of a snooze fest right up until that happened. I'll admit that. Briscoe kind of did a crap job as a ref, because there were some times where, like, he would see stuff going on and he's like, oh crap, 1, 2, like he'd forget to count. Like he'd forget to like jump down and count. It's like, dude, you're refereeing the match. You're not an active wrestler. Get down there and count. So there were a couple of spots where it was kind of like he was in La La Land when it came to
He was
doing
looking
ref
for his
jobs.
teeth.
But yeah, like, but otherwise, like that match was it. I really don't remember anything from that match, sadly, other than Aubrey getting hit in the head with the guitar, which if she ever heard me say that, she'd probably kick my ass, but it is what it is. So that was kind of a snooze fest of a match. Maybe that was just payback for her doing the stoppage from the last match, but that's the only thing I really remember.
I was like FTR's theme. I remember the theme. Yay. I don't know. It was just so crazy, this one. And like you said, Mark wasn't the best referee. He kept missing things that a ref shouldn't miss. Bless his soul. Bless his heart. I, unfortunately, I just don't remember much about this match at all. Like you said, it was kind of, things were just happening. That's just how it felt to me. Things were just happening here and there, is crazy shenanigans all over the place, and I got nothing. But FTR retaining made sense, but I legit got nothing for this. I'm sorry. This is the first time I think I've ever watched a pay-per-view with you guys, or, where I literally can't comment so much on a lot of it because there's not many memorable things coming from it for me, with the exception of Aubrey getting hit in the head with the guitar and yeah. and I remember what I was saying. You remember what I was saying after she got hit? What was it? So someone's gonna go check on her, right? She's still in the runway, right? Johnny?
Yeah, honestly, I don't really remember too much about this match either, except for Audie getting hit by the guitar and just the fact that Briscoe, it's just kind of like, I forgot what was the storyline. Why did he want to be a referee to begin with?
He was
Well, he just decided to be the guest referee just, because the tag team belts and all that stuff. It's just that, the bad guys are kind of trying to, sugar him up and whatever and stuff like that, I think.
But okay, but FTR going up against
Jerry Lethal.
Thank you. Gosh, I couldn't even remember that off the top of my head. What is wrong with me? Okay, anyway. Okay, with that matchup too, remember when I don't think it really did feel like maybe quite a few people weren't really into this match because a lot of fans didn't particularly want it. Maybe they want to see FTR in the ring, but they didn't want to particularly see this match against Lethal and Jarrett, because I'm just remembering when they were announcing it like on Dynamite. Yeah, who wants to see us go up against it was a Dax or whichever one. They were like, who wants to see us go up against Lethal and Jarrett, and like there was like no reaction from the crowd practically. Yeah, we accept your challenge. Yeah, crickets chirping. So nobody really was interested in this match and this whole matchup. So I think that also had a lot to do with why it was, the audience wasn't reacting or popping to it like they should have been. That's what I think anyway.
Honestly,
Yeah, it was pretty much the match that nobody wanted.
All I can say that generally, especially for this people, Tony Khan really did a horrible job. Like, I don't know, guys. Like he needs to at least get more input, like for the fans. Like, hey, because some of these matches are not it. They're matches that people already care for it to happen, and they put it anyways because he, for whatever reason, thinks it's a good idea to have this match happen. But yeah, in terms of
It's like, okay, guys, so in today's match, we're gonna have FTR, and they're gonna go up against, Double J and Jay Lethal, and then we're gonna have like Audrey there, and Audrey's gonna get hit by the guitar, and it's gonna be a real good match. It's gonna be super awesome, and don't forget about Collision, and don't forget about CM Punk, and oh god, I gotta blink. It's hard, but that's basically this guy. But wow.
yeah, Mark Briscoe is the referee. He's a little bit lackluster. Like, yeah, it's like he just seems out of place, and it's like, I don't know, man. If you're gonna be a referee, you have to at least. I think you still need to have some training, like, because if you
Yeah, but don't these guest referees, like, whenever, for example, Shawn Michaels is, I mean, is he a good, like, isn't it kind of like just like the spectacle that one of your favorite wrestlers is a guest referee, like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true, but they at least know how to do the referee work. I mean, Shawn Michaels, yeah, they brought him as a special guest ref, but when somebody was pinned, you didn't almost have to wait and count to 6 for him to get on the ground and go 1, 2. Like Briscoe, it would just be like he's just standing around. Somebody would get pinned, and he's like, oh, 1, 2. He just wasn't on the ball there. Like, and I get it. You're a wrestler. I understand that. You're on the opposite end of what you're supposed to be doing. But come on, dude, pay some attention. That's all I ask.
But yeah, honestly, this match again, like, I don't know, it's not pay-per-view worthy in my opinion. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it's whatever.
Let's see. After that, we had FTR versus Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and it was refereed by Mark Briscoe for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, and this was bad too. It was just boring, and it dragged so much. Like, you could see the crowd was just getting bored. They were like, come on, give us something. The only highlight of the match, weirdly enough, was the spot where Mark gets hit with a guitar, which we knew was coming, but then Aubrey Edwards running to the ring and Karen Jarrett smacking her with a guitar. Like, that's the only highlight of that entire match. It was just such a bad match, especially for FTR and Jay Lethal in this match. And you're like, man, I'm just wanting something good, And no, it was just boring. And FTR retain. So again, it's going to be a reoccurring theme of either boring or what the hell's happening.
So anyways, for this match, everyone got a point because everyone went for FTR. I don't think anyone would have gone for Double J and what's his name, and Jay Lethal and stuff. I wonder how long that's gonna go, if that's gonna end soon or whatever, because I don't know, it's just weird. But I mean, it might drag it out more because now they're bringing in Jarrett's wife into things too. But we'll see how long that story lasts with them. But we all get a point. So anyways, yeah, next match we have here was actually pretty good. The morale started going a little higher now, Now that we got past that rough patch. So we got Christian Cage challenging Wardlow for the AEW TNT Championship, and it's a ladder match, which of course, like Jack Knives pointed out, you don't have to actually wrestle the guy. He's got to climb that ladder and get that belt. And yeah, it was a pretty good match. It was actually better than I was expecting because, the size difference and all that. But, Christian Cage was his usual cheesy-ass self. I'm surprised he didn't come out with Luchasaurus. And someone remind me, I think he did appear somewhere near the end a little bit, but I don't remember him doing, like, too much of a thing. But, Christian Cage cheated here and there, lots of ladder theatrics and stuff. But the part I remember the most was that they had Christian Cage laid out on, I forgot, either a table or a ladder or both or whatever. And Wardlow climbed the ladder, and someone must have told him that, Jeff Hardy's getting kind of old. He can't do this shit anymore after that last bump. So you know what? You're the new Hardy. So Wardlow jumped off the fucking, tall ladder and just demolished Christian Cage and everything. And but yeah, in the end, Wardlow did get the ladder. He got the title. He retains, and this is actually one of his better matches. I want to say this is probably his best match ever because I mean, obviously everyone loved the match with MJF, but I mean, when it comes down to it, all it was like nonstop power bombs. Like I know MJF was such a douche that it felt satisfying to see that finally after all the years, But as a match, it was just nonstop power bombs. This was like a real match, and for me, it felt more like yeah, it was. For some reason, I guess Wardlow works better against a more agile and more crafty opponent where he can't just like muscle his way through. You know what I mean? He has to kind of whatever. Like that match seems to work better than his usual, the whole men slapping me, making Vince McMahon happy kind of matches. Like, what are your thoughts on that? That's a different angle. Like, wasn't this match better than any of these matches he had before? Even though, like, you would think, like, oh my God, Hobbs versus like, Wardlow's gonna get crazy, and then the match is kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think of this one? Was this one of his highlights so far?
Yeah, that Senton bomb's definitely going to be in his highlight reel. And I do get what you're saying. This is probably the first time other than, his scrap with MJF that they didn't put him up against, a big guy. So it wasn't just big power moves or anything. You had him go up against Christian Cage, who's a very agile wrestler. And, it made they made them have to showcase Wardlow's agility, which I'm sorry. Wardlow doing a senton bomb off the top of a ladder is like watching a battle tank do like a backflip. It's scary as hell.
Yokozuna,
but it's so satisfying. Like
Yokozuna backflip.
Yeah, it was scary, but it was beautiful at the same time. Like it was freaking amazing that a guy that big again is just that agile. I have to agree with what Jack Knives said last week. If they could put them together and have Cage as a manager, Wardlow, Christian Cage as a manager, Wardlow and Brian Cage together, as big and as agile as they are, that would be a force to be reckoned with. Now, overall, it was a good match, but there's one thing I just don't understand. And again, it was a why the hell is this there moment. Okay, I get Luchasaurus coming in. That's all fine and good. Why did Arn Anderson come out? And
I forgot about Arn Anderson. Yeah.
Why did he go ravage to Wawa on Luchasaurus and like try to bite his thumb off? Like it made no damn sense. Like Arn's an older guy, but he's got a repertoire of moves that he could still do, even in his state. And what's the first thing he's gonna do? I'm gonna take this lizard guy and just like gnaw on his thumb.
With a blood capsule.
Put them dentures to work.
Yeah, right. See, that would have made it funnier if Luchasaurus would have like pulled his hand out and you would just see like the teeth just like stuck to his hand. But like otherwise,
it could have been worse, man. It could have been Armed Anderson. All the memes.
Oh God, Armed Anderson. You know what? That would have made more sense for him to come out with like a gun or something. Sadly, than it would have for him just going in, looking like a squirrel because his blood capsule already went off in his mouth, and him like trying to bite Luchasaurus. Like that was the dumbest thing ever. I didn't understand that part, but all that aside, Wardlow and Christian did have a good match. I will give them that. But just stick to what works. And when I say what works, what actually is supposed to work for the match, not just some weird random shit going on that nobody can explain. Like, I'm sorry, I know I'm getting more jumpier as we talk about this pay-per-view, but that's just how ticked off I am with this pay-per-view. So I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna hand it to Wendy.
I'm jumping back to Arn Anderson right here, but no. First of all, when my cousin was also watching, and when he saw Wardlow do that small time ball or whatever, he was like, oh my god. He was like, oh my god, he trying to be like Jeff. He trying to be like Jeff. And he was like, you know what? But how big he is, the fact that he managed to pull it off in the way that he did was good. I will give Wardlow some credit for that. He deserves a clap for that. But he's also like 300 pounds and he should not be doing that. Just saying, you know?
Neither should Keith Lee, but you see what that guy does.
Yes,
Like, I think
yeah.
they should all get together and make like a heavyweight luchador team. That would be scary.
Oh my gosh, I feel sorry for anyone on the receiving end of that. But no, but yeah, I really had to, kudos to him for that. But it was just a ladder match. I don't know. I think it's interesting that it was a ladder match, but it is already known for ladder matches. I just kind of wish they would have gone in another direction like that or had a different kind of match. But I don't know what kind of match would be good for both Wardlow and Christian. Can y'all think of any offhand that you think that would really highlight maybe whatever, Wardlow's abilities while also reinforcing Christian's because he's been around for so long?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard because like Christian, the ladder matches are kind of his thing because
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Ladder matches are his thing. So how about something that Wardlow to enhance what Wardlow can do? Because you can't do ladder matches all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of wish it
this
could have
is
been like
true, but-
something a little different to highlight Wardlow's strengths as opposed to what Christian is already known for. Because he's the veteran. Wardlow is kind of, he's the newer one,
Yeah, well, yeah, that's see, but that's where the hard part kicks in because like Wardlow hasn't really had any like niche matches, like anything special that any type of special match that they could show, well, hey, he's excelled in this. Like he's fought other wrestlers, don't get me wrong, but he's never had like, okay, an overly proficient dog collar match or like a Hell in a Cell type match or something like that. So if they had something specific for him, then yeah, Wardlow, they could definitely call that out for Wardlow and have that be his showcase, designated type of match. But unfortunately, they don't. And considering you had Christian, that's pretty much what you got. It was either that or they just go full out on Christian and do a TLC match, which...
Oh, no, he should not be in a TLC match.
Ooh, yes, we do. The carnage.
I think Christian needs to chill for a bit, All right, so anyway, going back to the matchup, I would have to say this. I want to just go back to Arn Anderson here because you had talked about everything that you liked about it, Mark, but I was thinking, what about Arn Anderson? And, see, normal people block out traumatic experiences, and Arn Anderson was one of those experiences. So I'm remembering it so you don't have to. What is something I did not understand about Arn Anderson is, okay, he's supposed to be, like, what's his face is, like, in his corner, right? Why didn't he, like, do anything to help Wardlow out a little more besides fighting Luchasaurus, who wasn't even really doing much of anything? Like when Christian's on the ladder, why didn't he run in and push the ladder over or something, Or why didn't he come out with Wardlow? He didn't come out with Wardlow, did he?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, it's like, where was he? He must have been in the bathroom or something. I mean, he just came to the ring all late. And I thought he's like, oh my gosh, I gotta do something. I'm gonna fight the dinosaur. I just thought the whole thing was weird. But like I said, it was nice seeing Christian do something again. I don't know, but Wardlow's little channeling of Jeff Hardy was still pretty awesome.
I guess what's his name? Arn Anderson was thinking back to like 70s or 80s and stuff. He's like, open the door, get on the floor, everyone fight the dinosaur,
So that's what happened. Okay, I see where we're going with that. and Arn got it wrong. But I don't know. I just think they could have used Arn a little better here if he would have been more heelish or something, or kept doing things to Christian or something instead of going after Luchasaurus who wasn't doing anything.
You know, I thought Dino Bites were chicken nuggets, not Luchasaurus getting bit by Arn Anderson. That just doesn't sit well with me.
Mm-mm. Johnny, take us home, man.
Okay, so this match, I don't remember too much about the match, but I did remember that Wardlow is a powerhouse. He was a very good wrestler. Just proved that he needs to fight more often. And yeah, it was a good ladder match. Then Wardlow dropped Christian Cage on the table, then he landed on it or some shit like that.
I know he crotch dropped Christian Cage onto a ladder, which I was surprised that, normally Christian Cage usually outsmarts somebody and they normally take that hit, but it was actually Cage that took it. I was actually surprised on that.
Yeah, no snooze that night.
But yeah, this match, it was very good. It was very intense. It's a ladder match. It's always the suspense. Like, oh my god. There were times that I think it looked like Christian Cage was gonna win the match, and then shit happens or whatever. But yeah, that Arn Anderson thing, like I almost felt like why did they even need, like I don't think it wasn't even necessary at this match. Like he just appeared out of nowhere. Weird, like just appear out of nowhere and bit the Luchasaurus thumb? Like he bit it off, like it just seemed Arn Anderson, face all, because we bloodied up because he bit. It's just like I really don't know why that happened, and I don't know what's going on with Arn Anderson's head because like he could have done anything else, but his idea was like, I'm just gonna go there. Bite up.
Well, I mean, to be fair, with all you people making it sound like he just went up and just took a bite out of him just for kicks. I mean, he was Luchasaurus was trying to grab him in a choke slam, and that was like the only thing he could do to get him out of it. You know what I mean? Like
he was just trying to take a bite out of
make it sound like he just went up there and like if he was fucking what was it called, McGruff or something? He thought that Dino was a criminal and he trying to take a bite out of the crime or something like.
Yeah. I miss those. I used to like McGruff. Anyway.
He turned him into Dino Bites.
Yeah, honestly, I think the pay-per-view was so boring that they had to do something that's just get people like, oh shit, what the hell is Arn Anderson doing? Why he did that or whatever.
That's all I was about to say something like that. He was in the back there eating or drinking, having a drink. Arn, everyone sleep. We got to do something about that. Go out there and do something. Luchasaurus in the ring. Do something. Hold on.
What do I do? Here, put this pill capsule in your mouth. What? Run.
Okay. You got to dish out to it, huh?
But yeah, putting that thumb to the side. The match was very good, and I'm actually glad that Wardlow won this match. And yeah, he just needs to fight more and more. This is probably one of the better matches of the pay-per-view. I agree with that.
Next, we have the TNT Championship ladder match between Wardlow and Christian Cage. And surprisingly, even though this is the one match I couldn't even pretend to have cared less, was probably the best one-on-one match of the entire night, besides one other match, which I was shocked by. And I thought, yeah, it was interesting that Wardlow was willing to do a bunch of spots. There was one point that made me laugh so hard where Wardlow's big ass jumps and springboards into the ring, grabs the ladder, and the ladder literally breaks. Like, I was laughing so hard. I'm like, how? How are you able to simultaneously break a ladder and yet not break a ladder at the same time? I was so shocked by that. There was the highlight of Wardlow doing a Swanton Bomb to Luchasaurus over 2 tables, but the table Wardlow went through wasn't the one that Luchasaurus went through. So it just looked weird. It looked like he just did it against like an invisible opponent. It was weird. But eventually Wardlow won. That's pretty much it. Oh, and there was also a spot where Arn Anderson pretended to, or he bit Luchasaurus's finger off, or they claimed he did. It was so stupid. It was clearly paint. Like it's so obviously paint. Like, come on.
The order is so weird with this. Uh-oh. We got a bit of divide here. So let's see what happens. Okay. So I went with Wardlow. So that's a point for moi. And Johnny, unfortunately. Damn, all y'all's went for Christian Cage. I was the only one to went for Wardlow. Wow, I didn't know it was like that whatever, but
So they're like, bah.
then again, who could have predicted, Wardlow might do a flying swanton off the fucking ladder, you know what I mean? I didn't predict that.
And also my line of thinking was, maybe they still mad at him for literally losing the belt and they would take it off and put it on Christian. Since Christian was out for such a while, he couldn't do anything.